Welcome back to Difference HD. In this video, we will be discussing the difference between residual risk and inherent risk. What is inherent risk? Inherent risk refers to the level of risk that exists in the absence of any actions taken to mitigate or control it. It is the natural risk present in an activity, process, or system due to the nature of the work being performed, the complexity of operations, or external environmental factors. This type of risk assumes that no internal controls or mitigating measures are in place to reduce its impact or likelihood. For example, in financial auditing, inherent risk can arise from factors such as the complexity of transactions, industry practices, or susceptibility to fraud. Understanding inherent risk is critical for organizations, as it helps them identify areas that require robust control measures to ensure stability and compliance. What is residual risk? Residual risk, on the other hand, is the level of risk that remains after all mitigating measures and controls have been implemented. It represents the portion of risk that cannot be eliminated entirely despite the application of risk management strategies. Residual risk is considered acceptable if it falls within the organization's risk tolerance or appetite. For example, after implementing robust cybersecurity measures like firewalls, encryption, and monitoring systems, some level of risk still exists due to evolving cyber threats or unforeseen vulnerabilities. Residual risk emphasizes the importance of ongoing monitoring and reassessment to ensure that the remaining risks do not exceed acceptable thresholds. 12 differences between inherent risk and residual risk. 1 definition. Inherent risk is the risk that exists naturally before any controls or mitigating actions are taken. Residual risk is the risk that remains after controls and mitigation efforts have been applied. 2 timing of assessment. Inherent risk is assessed at the initial stage, before the implementation of any risk management practices. Residual risk is assessed after controls, mitigations, and risk management strategies are in place. 3 risk level. Inherent risk is typically higher, as no mitigating measures are considered, whereas residual risk is lower than inherent risk, as it accounts for the effectiveness of controls. 4. Control consideration. Inherent risk does not consider the presence of internal controls or risk mitigations. On the other hand, residual risk takes into account the impact of implemented controls and their effectiveness. 5 examples. Inherent risk are risks related to a company operating in a volatile industry. Residual risk are risks remaining after implementing hedging strategies in the same volatile industry. 6. Focus. Inherent risk focuses on understanding the raw risk landscape without intervention, whereas residual risk focuses on determining whether the remaining risk is within acceptable limits. 7. Importance in risk management. Inherent risk helps in identifying areas that require immediate or significant control measures. Residual risk ensures that the implemented measures have effectively reduced risk to a manageable level. 8. Dependency. Inherent risk is independent of any controls or mitigations. Residual risk depends on the efficiency and effectiveness of the controls in place. 9 examples in auditing. Inherent risk is the risk of material misstatements in financial reports due to complex accounting rules. Residual risk is the risk of misstatements remaining after audit procedures are applied. 10. Usage and planning. Inherent risk is used in planning the initial risk assessment and prioritizing critical areas for control implementation. Residual risk is used to evaluate the success of the implemented controls and plan ongoing risk management activities. 11. Quantification. Inherent risk can be more challenging to quantify precisely, as it is based on assumptions of no controls. Residual risk is easier to quantify, as it considers known control measures and their effectiveness. 12 examples in cybersecurity. Inherent risk is the threat of a data breach due to operating in a high-risk digital environment. Residual risk is the remaining threat after applying firewalls, encryption, and employee training. Conclusion. Inherent risk and residual risk are fundamental concepts in risk management that serve distinct but interconnected purposes. While inherent risk highlights the raw, unmitigated challenges an organization faces, residual risk demonstrates the effectiveness of the controls implemented to manage those challenges. Together, they provide a comprehensive view of an organization's risk landscape, helping decision-makers ensure that risks are minimized and aligned with the organization's goals and risk appetite. By understanding these differences, businesses can build robust frameworks to safeguard their operations and ensure long-term success. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel Difference HD. Your support motivates us to create more informative and engaging content. Stay tuned for our next video.